So it is happening thing. It is happening thing. Unknowingly, they do something here and there. So sometimes something may not work. So from environment to environment, we face issues definitely, because if you delete one configuration file, that's enough for 2 hours of outage, right? So here, team, why it is happening? Why application is working at one place and not working at another place? We need to look into this issue seriously nowadays, right? Because we are in a world of CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery deployments. In that case, team, yes, you need to take care of your application also. Then how it works, right? So, team, this is where you need to start considering the design of your environment. The design of your environment, right? First, imagine developer laptop. Imagine this is developer laptop. Obviously, developers like to have Windows. They install some Eclipse or something, Eclipse or IntelliJ, some IDE, and then they develop their application and they configure some test server. They configure some test server and then they prepare their code. This is a developer laptop, generally speaking. If it comes to production environment, you never run your enterprise applications. You never run your enterprise applications on Windows team. You always go for Linux platforms. You always go for Linux platforms. Suppose I'm running on Linux. And do we need to run Eclipse in production server? Do you ever see Eclipse software on production server team? Yes, no, maybe? No, never, right? So you just run some Java JRE, whatever required to run your application. And you don't use test servers in production environment. You use distributed infrastructure. I mean to say, n number of servers with Tomcat or WebSphere or WebLogic, whatever. You always use distributed environment of specific application server or web server, whatever you choose. And finally, you get the same code the developer has given you and run this. So why you don't face issues? Here, to Eclipse, he might have loaded some jar files, some support files. Here, they might have missed. They might have missed, right? So obviously, team, compatibility issues will be there. You may miss one or two files here and there to copy or load, right? So this is where team slowly we started using QA environments. We started using QA environments. So what is this QA environment? What QA people do? Testers, simply saying testers in organizations. What do they do? And why we prepare this QA environment? So team, we prepare a replica of production. Say in my production, I'm using CentOS. I'm using Java 1.8. I'm using Tomcat 8.5 software. And finally, my developer prepared a code called a war file. So this is what I wanted to host in my production. The same thing, first I would like to host in QA environment, because developer is saying application is working fine, but we should not accept it until unless we see it in production kind of environment. That is where we tell developers, hey developers, don't tell us that application is working fine in your own laptop. Host your application here. Check your application here. Test your application here. If it is fine here, then tell us application is working fine. If not, no, we don't accept. If there is anything missing before going to production, let's fix here itself. Let's fix here itself. Let's not go here and face the issues, right? So this is where team we started hosting various environments before production, QA environments, IAT environments, pre-production. These kind of environments we started hosting. Once you host this, you will come to know here itself whether your application is working fine or not, whether your app is working fine or not. Here itself, you will come to know. Once you see your application is working fine here, yes, happily you can send it to production. But one more point here I would like to highlight. If you want to send your application to production, in organizations, we definitely maintain hundreds of production servers. We never use only one production server. We definitely maintain n number of production servers. Again, You need to install OS on each and every server. You need to install Java on each and every server. You need to install Tomcat on each and every server. And you need to copy the WAR file to each and every server. So this operation is continuous, team. This operation is continuous in the sense how many servers you have, you need to install each and every component on each and every machine. This is mandatory, no other option. This is what we used to do from years, team. This is what we have been doing from years, right? Now, imagine a situation. You are shifting your home from one place to another place. You are shifting your home from one place to another place. When you shift your home, take all the items one by one to new home, or do you pack all together and do you take the package, or do you transport all the goods in a single shot? Tell me, team, one by one or all at a time? What do you prefer? What do you prefer to go for? All at one time, right? Everybody say all at one time. The same way in our organizations also, IT teams, your IT teams who give you laptops or desktops, they also install everything in a single shot. They also install everything in a single shot, right? All at a time. All at a time. Like this team, we used to host all these things at a time. We used to host all these things one by one earlier days. Nowadays, why should we go for piece by piece? Somewhere I might have missed one to show some outage or to cause some outage, right? Maybe something may be missing when you deploy multiple times. So that is why, team, why to host like this, piece by piece? Why can't we package the working copy already? And why can't we apply the package all at once? This is the idea, team, that people started thinking. Why to send piece by piece, as it is working fine, as it is approved by QA team, as it is certified by QA team? Let's package this. Let's package this. That is called as image. That is called as image. Once you package this, that is called as image. And get that image and run it directly in your production environment. So once you run the image, that becomes container. That becomes a container. So container is runtime format of an image. Container is runtime format of an image. Now, how to define a container? How to define an image? For seeing, both container and image look like same. What's the difference? Let me explain you. Here, team, earlier days, application means only WAR file for us. Only jar file, WAR file, exe file. But nowadays, in today's terminology, in today's technology world, right, application is nothing but image. If somebody says, hey Ravi, where is your application? Here is my application. So earlier days, team, we used to host application separately, but these days we are hosting application along with its dependencies. See, earlier days we used to get all the grocery items individually. We used to cook food, right? But nowadays we are getting ready to eat food, where all the ingredients are mixed already. They are ready to use. Agree, everybody? Are we seeing this in today's world? Earlier days we used to cook by adding each and every ingredient, but nowadays ready to cook items are available in market. You just take them and you just use them. Yes? Everybody agree for this? Are you seeing that practically in today's world? Yeah, Srinath. So this is what, team, of course we started using them. We are habitual to them. With this pandemic, of course, we just gave a slight thing and we are cooking at home, but still many people are using them. The same way, team, rather than taking only application, let's take application and its dependencies, all ingredients of your application. So that is called as an image. So image is a package of your application with all its dependencies. When I say dependencies, team, whatever needed for your application to function. Suppose for my application I need a library, I need a jar file, I need a properties file, I need operating system, I need Java, I need Tomcat. Whatever your application needs, put it as a package and send it to the environment as a package. Send it to the environment as a package. So like this team, when you package it, that is called as image. When you run it on your server, that is called as container. Then what's the difference between image and container? Let me ask you a simple question, team. You yourself will tell the answer now. I have a car in my parking area, right? Okay, I started the car and I'm on the road with my fourth gear on. Do you see the difference in the content of the car when I'm in motion, when I'm in parking? Do you see any difference in the content of the car? Yes, no, maybe? Team, are my wheels changing? Are my seats changing? Are my clutch, brake, accelerator changing? Are my features of the car changing? No, they do not. They do not change, right? They do not change. Then what is changed? Then what is changed, team? If that is not changed, then what is changed? So, excellent, Rajendra. The engine status changed, team. The engine state changed. Engine state changed. Earlier that was sleeping. Now it's in running state. It's in motion. The engine is in motion. The fuel is burning inside. Then the movement started, and thus the purpose of the car is solved. I mean to say, you are using your car for the reason why you bought it, right? The same thing happens here also, team. When you have image, that is packaged one, that is sleeping one. But when you run it, the OS starts, the Java loads, Tomcat starts, and it loads the WAR file, and it runs your application. It runs your application. So when you run the image as a container, the application will be up and running, and end user can access the application. End user can access the application. So this is what it is, team. This is what it is. This is exactly what is container. Image is packaged format and container is running format. End user can access the application directly if you go with container. So container is the running application with all its dependencies, includes operating system. This is the exact definition of container, team. Is everybody clear here? Perfect. So container is a running application with all its dependencies. End user can access your container readily. End user can access your container readily. So container is ready to use format of your application. Directly you can host and directly you can access. So if I run this container in my home, if I run this container on your laptop, if I run this container on client laptop, do you see any behavioral changes, team? Do you feel any behavioral changes if I run this container in different environments or different laptops or different desktops? Right. Because, team, whether you host it in my laptop or in my friend's laptop or in space or anywhere in the world, right? This application runs in same CentOS. It uses same Java. It uses same Tomcat. So doesn't matter where you run it, this behavior will not change. Thus, application is working in one environment, not working in another environment. These questions go away. These questions go away. So this is what it is, team. This is what it is. This is exactly the advantage of container. But how to host this container? How to create that image? What's the process, right? So team, for this to make happen, you need to have some OS first at your machine level. You need to have an operating system at your machine level. On top of operating system, you need to have some containerization software. Of course, we discussed yesterday. It's nothing but Docker. You need to install Docker on top of it. And once you install Docker, right, this Docker guy enables virtualization on the system. With the help of that virtualization, you can run your containers. You may ask me, Ravi, in VM also we will have the same thing. In container also we have the same thing. Here we installed this for virtualization. Then what's the difference are we observing? Why should I go for containers, right? This question may come to your mind, team. Let me tell you here the real point of containerization. See, team, here the virtualization, whatever you do is hardware level virtualization. Here you fix the resources for your VMs. But in containers, this is OS level virtualization, operating system level virtualization, and you never fix resources here. Suppose my Tomcat container needs 100 MB. It can directly take from machine. There is no fixed amount of resources here. We never fix a Tomcat container, use only 100 MB, use only 200 MB. These kind of resources we don't give to container team. They can take whatever they want directly from machine. That is the first advantage. Dynamic allocation of resources. Suppose Tomcat needs 100 more MB. It can extend automatically. So dynamic allocation of resources issue is gone. Point number 1. And point number 2. I'm telling here we need to have an operating system, right? Why we have two operating systems here? Why can't we have only single one, right? So team, this is full-blown operating system, full-fledged operating system to host Docker software and all. And the operating systems inside containers are not full operating systems. These are lightweight versions of operating systems. These are mini operating systems or smallest operating systems. Or simply saying these are not operating systems. These are operating system libraries. You may ask me how an operating system can become smaller, right? See team, try removing the dependencies of the operating system. It becomes lightweight. I mean to say, will your WAR file ever open VA editor of your system, team? Will your WAR file ever open VA editor of your system, your operating system? Or will your Windows machine ever open Notepad automatically for its usage? Do you ever see that? Will your Windows system open MS Paint anytime for its usage? Everybody looking for your responses? No, it doesn't. They are for us. We use them. They are for us. I want VA editor in Linux. I want MS Paint in Windows. I want this UI draw.io in Mac. Our applications never use them. These kind of unnecessary things remove. Whatever application needs, just keep it. This is the agenda now, team. Whatever your application needs, just put only those. Let's clear remaining things. This is where, team, your operating systems become lightweight. Those lightweight operating systems we use inside containers. So these will not have kernels. If you know Linux, team, kernel is the important part of Linux, right? So these containers borrow kernel features from host OS. This is called host OS team on the machine where you have Docker installed, and these are lightweight operating systems. Believe me, team, there is an operating system available for 5.6 MB. I'll show you when we start. Right, 5.6 MB an operating system. Just imagine nowadays if you take a photo, you know how much size it is showing you, 8 MB, 7 MB, right? But there is an operating system of Linux available for 5.6 MB. Ubuntu lightweight operating system is available for 76 MB, and CentOS is available in 200 MB. Like this team, there are operating systems available with lightweight versions. So these kind of lightweight versions we use inside containers. Thus, container becomes lightweight. Container becomes lightweight. So these are not full operating systems. These are libraries only. That's why you don't need to worry about operating system maintenance first. That will also be gone. As these are lightweight operating systems, all the software are lightweight versions, right? The boot time will be faster. Believe me, I'll show you. A container can be started in 2 seconds. Practically, I'll show you, team. A container can be started in 2 seconds, whereas for VMs we discussed 5 minutes. So your OS, Java, Tomcat, Warfile all together, it can start in 2 seconds and it can start serving end user immediately. That's the power of container, team. So boot time issue is also gone. Finally, scalability. If you want to scale up VM, you need to take a new VM. You need to install this. You need to run all your application stack. But here, I have the image already with me, right? How much time it takes for me to do Control-C, Control-V? Scalability is seconds in containers. In seconds, you can spin up 10 containers, 15 containers. How many you want? Go ahead. Because you have already prepared image with you. Xerox only you need to take because you have original document with you. How many Xeroxes you want? Those many you can take in a minute. Yes, you need to have this capacity. Yes, you need to have power on. That's it. Like this team, you can understand containerization resolves all the things we discussed in VMs. All the improvement points of VMs are resolved with containerization. For all this, you need to have an operating system on the machine, whether it is Ubuntu or SUSE Linux or Red Hat, doesn't matter. Any operating system you can have here. Any operating system you can have here. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It directly uses kernel feature of this OS. It does not use Ubuntu features. It uses kernel features. Kernel is different. Ubuntu software is different in operating system. Kernel is same if you take any operating system. So this is how, team, in containers, you will see dynamic allocation of resources means all the containers think they can use this RAM completely. So dynamically they take the RAM, and container can start quickly in 2 seconds. No OS maintenance, and scalability is very easy. Whenever you want, then you can run as many containers as you want. So this is how, team, containerization is popular nowadays. Everybody is running after containerization. Once you prepare the image, the same image I can use in my development environment. I can use it in my production environment also. Earlier, team, you used to install all the software individually, right? But nowadays, what I should do, I just should have Linux and Docker. That's it. I just should have Linux and Docker on every machine. Whenever I want to run my application, I just run the image here. I just run the container here with all necessary things. I don't need to install Java. I don't need to install Tomcat. I don't need to install code. All these things. So like this, team, containerization is popular nowadays. There is a question: how to update OS patches in containers? There is no patching to container, guys. Remember, team, container is like a disposal glass. Use it and throw it once the job is done. If someone wants water, give another glass. You never recycle disposal glasses, right? The same way, container is disposal. Once you run the application, once the job of the container is done, if you want to migrate to new WAR file, or if you want to migrate to new Java, if you want to migrate to new OS, right? You never update a container. You create altogether a new image again. You create altogether a new image again, and you run new container in place of older container. This is what we do at enterprise level, team. This is what we do at enterprise level. You never update a container. You always create a new image for new container. It's like disposal glass, use and throw. Use your container as far as it is needed. Once the job is done, throw it. Whenever you want new, go for new glass. But VMs, these are like, steel glasses, metal glasses, right? You continue to recycle them. But here, these are disposal glasses. So no patching, no fixing containers. Even though you face any issue with container, remove it. It takes another 2 seconds to bring up new container, right? So this is what with containers team. This is what with containers. Never update or never upgrade any container. We just prepare new image and we run new image as a new container. So when you take one machine team, you can run many containers here, but you will not. Yeah, this patching is normal only. This host patching is normal only, guys. This you need to take care as general operating system. So you have to take care of this. So team, in general, when you have multiple containers to run, multiple application images to run, having single machine is a problem. You never depend on single machine. You always use multiple machines. When we think of multiple machines team, right, that is where container orchestration comes into the picture. When you go for container orchestration team, there Docker Swarm and Kubernetes comes into the picture. Then we think of desired state, high availability, auto scaling, auto healing, right? All these things, workload management, load balancing, of course. All these things we do see with orchestration. This is containerization. So creating the image, running the container out of it, starting, stopping, executing something inside, changing something inside, right? Taking the backup. All these things come under containerization team. And to manage the containers on n number of machines, right? We need orchestration. That is where Docker Swarm and Kubernetes come into the picture. Any questions, anyone? Any questions so far, team? Yes, no, maybe. This is the reality of containerization. Sir, once can you tell what is orchestration? Okay, Rakesh. Orchestration is management of your containers. When you run multiple containers, yesterday I discussed anyway. When you run multiple containers, managing them is very, very important. So the management of the containers, maintaining them, make sure they are running without any failures. And if you want to scale up, increasing the number of containers on different machines and upgrading to next version without any downtime, allocating resources to them, all these things come under orchestration. Please let us know if any installations in our systems at least one day before. Nageshwar, that your practice, you need to practice after the class. So daily I'll show you everything in class. Once after that, you can practice. So as I told you, you need to have better if you can have some Google Cloud account, or else in local VMs also you can practice Docker. That's okay. All right. So this is it, team. This is the internals of containerization and how it works. The next step would be starting installation of Docker by taking the VMs, local VMs or cloud VMs, whatever. So team, tomorrow we do not have the class. We are done with the introductions. The next step is entering into the subject. The next class directly starts with Docker installation, Docker configurations, how to take the machine and how to install Docker, how to see sample container and all. Tomorrow we do not have class team. Day after tomorrow we continue to start with the subject. So 2 hours already completed yesterday, today. So third hour starts from day after tomorrow. Tomorrow we do not have class. Day after tomorrow I directly start with machine configuration and installation of Docker. And Mr. Nagbabu pinged in the chat team. So please complete your commercials with Naresh IT team and please continue to join next class with installation. Kubernetes 1.19 version exam preparation will be covered. Yes, Samir, I use Kubernetes 1.19 only. Yeah, the course is mainly focused at exam content only, don't worry. Course duration will be 35 to 40 hours, Divyanshu. It includes 12 to 15 hours of Docker and 20 to 25 hours of Kubernetes. All right. Any questions, anyone? Hope everything clear today. Hope you understood the reality of containerization. What is containerization? There will not be any dumps for exam, Samir. That's a practical exam. That's a practical exam. They give you servers. You need to practice on servers. I prepared some scenarios. I'll share with you. Don't worry. Rajendra, end-to-end Kubernetes will be covered in my classes. After my training of Kubernetes, you can complete CKA, CKAD exam as well. That's my word. You can see after the class. Many people cleared their certifications after my classes. Yeah, Ramakrishna, just drop an email to Naresh IT team. They'll send you the details. Hope we'll cover our part of. You will see Divyanshu. Yeah, this is my regular batch. Everywhere it is covered. Yep. Docker and Kubernetes. If you follow everything step by step, you can clear your certifications. That standard I'll give you, and everything will be practical in my classes. As you see, I never open slides, just whiteboard and command line. These two I use team. That's it. Notes, labs, material, everything I'll give you, Kishore. Nothing to worry about it. Once you clear your commercials with Naresh IT team, then I'll give you everything team. So please clear with that. And from next class, we will start with Docker installation. You can use the same link to join next class as well, team, but make sure you are done with your commercial things. All right. Any more questions? Any more questions?